to Paper Mache People, the podcast for and from people living far away from home. I'm your host, Yilin, and in today's episode, my co-host Misha and I talk about the really boring parts of settling into a new life abroad. Looking for housing? Try asking your hotel receptionist for advice. Think the nanny state's got your medical bills covered? Well, you might need to double check that. Pumped for road trips to the countryside? Maybe a few trips to the road authorities are due first. But before all that, let's dive in to today's trivia.
Eileen, are you ready for today's trivia?
Hit me with what you have.
The first question is, which city has the cheapest rent relative to their salary? Is it A, Tokyo, B, Zurich, or C, KL?
I think it would be Zurich.
Interestingly, it seems that Tokyo has the cheapest rent relative to their salary. The average percentage of salary spent on rent in Tokyo is about 14 to 17%, whereas in Zurich and KL, it's about 20 to 35%.
Interesting. I know that in KL, people spend like a big chunk of their salary on rent, so it was definitely not KL. But between Zurich and Tokyo, I felt like Tokyo is not that cheap, so I just guessed it would be Zurich.
Question number 2. Where does it make the least sense to move out into the suburbs to save on rent amongst Tokyo, Zurich, and KL? Once again.
Zurich?
Yeah, you're right. If you move approximately 40 kilometers out into the suburbs in one of these three cities, you save about 10 to 25% in Zurich. But in KL and Tokyo, you save approximately 20 to 50%.
Yeah, a lot of people move out to the suburbs when they want a bigger house in Tokyo. So I guessed it wasn't Tokyo.
Last question for today. Which country has a law preventing landlords from evicting their tenants during the winter months, even if they haven't paid rent? Is it A, Norway, B, France, or C, Spain?
Norway, because it's so freaking
One would
cold.
think so. It's actually France. There is this thing called the winter truce, in which even if you are squatting in someone else's house, you don't have an official contract, the landlord is not allowed to kick you out.
Wow.
I have a friend who wanted to buy a house, and that was one of her considerations. She's like, no, not gonna have to deal with someone in my house when I'm not there.
No, what? If someone just decides to squat in your house, they are not gonna be, wow.
You cannot.
I was thinking in the sense of like you had a contract and you're living there, and then after a while you stop paying rent or something, but now it's more like anyone
Also
can just show up anywhere.
Yeah. So that's really next level, like, protection.
Wow.
For the people and not so great for landlords.
We mentioned in the trivia that Tokyo has the cheapest relative rent. Well, among the three cities, Zurich, Tokyo, and KL, it looks like things might get even more cheap, but maybe
very
not
nice.
specifically in Tokyo, because Japan is actually struggling with a lot of abandoned houses. And this is because of the aging population, and people are basically just dying, and maybe some of them don't have any descendants to take over their homes, or even if they do have descendants, they probably live in the city. According to El País, there are currently 8.9 million empty homes.
Oh, wow.
Or 10.3%.
I'm assuming
of the
these
total.
houses are in the rural or more suburban areas, right? It's not in the city, or is it also in the city?
I think most of it are in the rural area, but actually in the city as well, there's a growing number of abandoned houses. And some foreigners have started to buy up these houses, of course, in more attractive locations, probably in the city. But the cost of buying the house is almost like zero. It's more of like buying the land, the worth of the land.
I see.
You also incur a lot of cost of tearing down the old building, because most of them are probably not livable, especially if they've been left abandoned for several years. So like I've seen some posts on Instagram, actually, some
I have
Singaporeans or whatever who buy up these houses and then like the before and after videos.
Yeah, definitely. I guess the solution for rising rent is aging population.
Well, but the strange thing is it should already be happening. Like the aging population is already like starting to die off. Maybe we haven't like reached the peak. It was pretty morbid peak, but we're gonna hit it eventually, right?
That is quite dark.
So I was always a bit skeptical about like buying super expensive houses in Tokyo. Like they're being valuated so at a certain price today, but will it really be worth that much in a few years? No, not a few years, like maybe a decade later, right? Okay, so Misha, we mentioned at the beginning that this episode is supposed to be about like the bureaucracy of moving, and our listeners might have noticed that we spent an awful lot of time talking about housing so far, and that's because that's like the biggest part when you decide to move abroad. One of the biggest part, at least. Deciding where to stay.
One of the basic necessities.
So what was your experience when you first moved to France and when you went to other countries later?
I didn't expect it to be such a big challenge. It was really mind-blowing how much admin there is to finding a place. I was lucky that my dad was with me throughout this process. So before the school year started, I was there with my dad to look for a place. And prior to leaving Malaysia, I had already set up some appointments via some websites, some housing agency websites. And it was very interesting because I had to choose between two places. One, which was this beautiful old French building where I have like a really big room and my own kitchen, and the rent wasn't so expensive.
So you've seen like photos of these places online, presumably.
Yeah. The landlord was also really nice. So he stays in the like opposite building to mine, and I had my own building, and it was just beautiful. On the other hand, I had the choice of this little room at the bottom of someone's house. Also not a bad area. It's much closer to the university.
At the bottom of someone's house.
And it's very interesting because like these people, when they build their houses, they think of the use case of renting it out to people. So usually like the ground floor or the basement, not really basements in France, but like the ground floor would be for let, and they have a separate entrance for you. So on one hand, beautiful French old school building. On the other hand, 20-meter square room. And I was really in love with the old building. The only problem was that I would need to change trains once. So I'll have to take a first train and then change routes to go to the university, which only took me about like 30 minutes. So that was actually okay. So I was really considering this as a choice, and I asked one of the hotel receptionists where I was staying at if that was a good choice. And the guy looked at me in horror and he was like, "No, do not do that. Definitely go to the one that is close to the university, because French people are notorious for striking. And the fact that you have to take two lines, it means that there's double the possibility of strikes." And you miss classes and everything, and it's especially bad in the morning. So he said, "No, go close to the university." And that's how I ended up with my first place. The crazy thing is that to sign a contract, you need a phone, a bank account, and a permit. But to have the first two documents, you need a housing contract. And so there was just a huge mess as to how do you even get started with this? Like every document that you need needs the other document.
Problem.
I don't really know how I managed to do it, but it was so stressful. It was so stressful because everywhere you go, they're like, oh yeah, and what's your BIC? I'm like, what's BIC? And it's just like this international banking number, or your RIB. Yeah, that's the French term. It's just like all these details about your bank account. And it's like, yeah, I do not have a bank account. I think there were part of it also that was done with cash to begin with, so that people had a guarantee that you're gonna show up.
Done with cash. Sounds sketch when you put it like that. It's like you give some under-table money. I didn't need to supply my RIB because I paid in cash. For Tokyo, the mind-boggling part of setting up a bank account was that some banks requires you to have like personal seal. And I'm like, a personal what?
Oh, yeah. It's funny because when you say personal seals, I think of ancient China or ancient Japan with these like samurai like characters. Or like they had to like keep their seal like really safe, right?
Yeah.
That's their status symbol. And someone, if they want to like overwrite this person, then they have to like steal the seal.
They basically forged their signature.
Yeah. That's so funny. And yeah, because like I have seen like a lot of these stamps, these seals in random places in like supermarkets or just some roadside shop. Would that be what people buy for themselves, or is it more like a souvenir for tourists?
So there are different types of seals, and the ones that you saw at the stores are probably the cheapest and most informal type.
Mm-hmm.
For banks, you would need to have something called a bank seal. And for really important stuff, then you would have something like the personal seal that you actually register with the local government office.
I see.
And that highest level seal is basically recognized as your official signature.
Okay. And also, how's it like if you do not have a Japanese name, like you're a foreigner, does it then go to like katakana? Which one?
Yeah,
is
it becomes a katakana.
Mm-hmm.
And if your name is very long, then it's very unfortunate. Then maybe you just shorten it somehow. It's just like your initials.
Maybe
then.
your initials. Okay, yeah, I see.
For me, I just use my Chinese name.
How did you go to a seal maker?
I went to this shop and I just ordered it. I typed in what I wanted to be like. I chose a style, and then a few days later, it was sent to me. So getting the seal itself is not that difficult.
Okay,
it's just
okay.
This whole system of seals feels a bit
Added
archaic.
task.
Yeah, one more step before you can open a bank account.
Something else that pops up as like an urgent to do is to get health insurance. And I remember it was particularly stressful for me when I went to Zurich because the health insurance per month feels like an extortion. It's like more than 400 francs per month.
How much is that in ringgit?
Oof, that's about 2,000 to 3,000 ringgit per month.
What? That's someone's salary entail.
Just on healthcare. That, by the way, you still have a huge deductible. So if you go to the doctor, you still have to pay it out of your pocket. So it's insane. And when I learned about that, going to Switzerland as a student without any income, it really stressed me out. And they send you this letter saying that if you do not choose a health insurance company and a plan by, 30 days after you move into the country, they will pick one for you by default, and it will be at this price of like 400 something per month.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of freaking out. I was like, no way.
Wait, they don't default you to the cheapest one?
They default you to what they think is the right one for you.
What? So the default is customized to individual?
I think the default is like more or less the median, not the cheapest one. Yeah.
Not the cheapest. Okay.
So Thankfully, I found out that there is this health insurance that is separate for international students. And it brought down the health insurance to 65 francs per month, which is much more manageable. And so, yeah, there's a race to do all the paperwork to get the right documents to sign up for 65 francs instead of 400 francs per month.
Wow. But that's like a huge difference.
There's a huge difference. Yeah.
It seems insane that for students, they would just apply this 450 francs.
Only if you're an international student. Yeah. So if you're Swiss, like all my Swiss friends had to pay 400 francs per month.
That is crazy. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy because like Switzerland kind of numbs you over time with respect to numbers. When you see numbers, you don't really understand what that means anymore because you're so used to seeing these huge numbers.
But it's so scary because this is exactly why I have trouble sleeping at night, because I'm like mulling over the life admin tasks that I haven't done yet. And like, which one of those things will have like this surprising consequence that will bite me in the ass just because I didn't submit some stupid form 2 months ago, you know?
Definitely.
It's such a nightmare. So one thing that was really stressful, not so much in the first year, but in my second year of living in Japan, I was on like a yearly work permit because I was working at a startup, which meant that for the first 4 years, I had to renew my work visa every year. And when my work visa runs out, then my bank would freeze my bank account.
What?
Yeah.
What?
So you think like, okay,
why would they do that to you?
yeah, I mean, I think it's just like, I actually have no idea why they do it, because like in Malaysia, I don't think we enforce that. Like if you don't live in Malaysia anymore, I think you can still maintain a bank account. At least that was the case for China.
So.
I still have my bank account in China, even though I haven't lived there in many years.
It's also the same in EU in general.
Yeah, so this is like a very specific thing.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so you have this really stressful period where you submitted your application to immigration as soon as you can apply, but they are so overwhelmed with applications that sometimes they take months to process your application.
Oh, wow.
And
so what do you do then if you need money?
So in my partner's case, his bank account actually got frozen.
Oh my god.
So I went to the bank with him, and they said that you can't withdraw money from the ATM, you can't use your debit card, you can't make any transfers. But so if you want money, the only thing you can do is go up to the counter and tell them your situation and they will issue you some cash.
Oh man.
And on top of that, there are like other tools that you can't use anymore once your permit runs out.
Yeah.
So like international transfers, I use Wise.
Yeah.
And Wise in Japan requires you to update to a valid identification when your work permit runs out. So then if you have some costs in your home country, then you need to really make sure that you've planned in advance and have enough funds.
That is so insane.
Because during that period, you can't do any transfers.
That is so insane. Yeah. If you have like family depending on you in a different country, then it's just game over.
Yeah.
Wow.
No.
So yeah, after I found a place to settle in Tokyo and basically have my basic necessities in order, started looking into getting like a driving license in Japan. Long story short, I still don't have a driving license. This is my 4th year living in Japan. And well, part of it is because I'm too lazy to do it. But the other part is because there's just so many steps.
Yeah.
And I actually, my partner and I, we were forced to do the license conversion process for him. So Marcus is a Swedish citizen, yeah, and he has a Swedish driving license.
Mm-hmm.
So for him, it's supposedly easier because he just needs to convert it.
Yeah.
Whereas for Malaysians, it's not recognized. So you
Yeah.
have to take the course again and do the
Yeah.
exam and everything. And that also costs quite a bit of money. So why was Marcus forced to convert his license? Is because his Swedish license was running out.
Okay.
And in the past couple of years, Sweden actually stopped allowing their non-residents to renew their driving license if they don't reside in Sweden.
I see.
So that means if it runs out and Marcus doesn't have a
Game
Japanese
over.
license, then when we go back to Sweden, he cannot drive there either.
Okay.
So we realized this like a couple months before, and we looked up how to get like an appointment to convert the license. And then the website was pretty difficult to navigate. The first page you find is the translation request page.
Okay.
So you need to have a Japanese translation of your foreign license
Yeah.
as one of the documents, required
I see.
documents for this application. So that page was like the easiest page to find.
Yeah.
Then the rest of information is very difficult to find. So
Yeah.
then next part was getting an appointment with the transport offices.
Yeah.
And I tried to
Okay.
book an appointment through the website, and I was scrolling through the next couple of months and I couldn't see any free slots. So I was like, is this website just like down? Is it just
Yeah.
buggy or what? And then I decided, okay, we are so tight on time. Let me just call them
Yeah.
and ask them, like,
Yeah.
how do I do this?
Yeah.
Then I called them and they told me, yeah, you just have to book a slot and that is available online. And the soonest slot was like 2 months later.
Oh, wow.
So that's like how long the waiting times are just to get a slot to convert your license. So thankfully, we managed to book a slot that was 1 week before his license was supposed to run out.
Nice.
And then that day, we were told that we needed to provide proof that Marcus had lived in Sweden for at least 3 months after he received his Swedish driving license.
Oh.
And we were like,
how do you even prove that?
Okay, yeah, because he's a Swedish citizen. He
Yeah.
got his license when he was 16, and we only came to Japan when he was, I don't know, 29.
What?
So like, how do I prove that I was living in Sweden for
Pictures? I don't know.
at least 3
Do they
months?
accept pictures and selfies.
Oh, if you have a passport that proves that you left the country and then you return to the country,
Yeah.
that could be valid as well. But the sad thing is, Marcus had just renewed his passport before we moved to Japan.
Yeah.
So it was like a fresh passport that didn't have any old travel history
Yeah.
in it. Yeah, he had to
And
go
the passport doesn't
we had to
have
go
proof
home.
of where you are as a Swedish national, right? It's only when you've left.
Yeah,
So you cannot
exactly.
prove that you
And
were there
to be
still.
not really either, because especially in EU, you can
Just
move around within EU. So yeah, it was really strange. So we were very sad, and we were also panicking a bit because it was only 1 week until the license ran out. And the worst thing was that we also noticed that the translation got Marcus's name wrong. So we had to also contact, it's actually the same organization, it's so stupid, but we have to contact that specific translation
Okay, the
center.
translation service is related
And-
to the transport authority. It's not like an independent.
It is their
Uh-huh.
translation
Okay, I see.
department.
I see. Crazy. Yeah.
So yeah, the second time we went back, we brought Marcus's salary slips then, and then the guy said, no, we can't accept this because it doesn't say what this salary was for.
Working. What else?
So it said like this salary slip was issued on this date, like I don't know,
Yeah.
the 1st of February, and this was the amount. Then the guy said, but it doesn't specify that this is a monthly salary, and it doesn't specify which
God.
month the work was done.
Oh my God. I see.
Like, what kind
the
of
little loophole that he's looking for. But what? Okay, so what do? Do you have water bills? Do you have electricity bills?
No, because we've moved out of the country for 4 years now, so
Yeah.
they don't have records older than 2 years online unless you have them printed somehow. Yeah.
So
In the end, they accepted this screenshot
Oh.
of the company's HR page of all the times Marcus's salary was revised or when his position was updated,
Okay,
when he
I
was
see.
promoted. Yeah.
I see.
So
So random.
yeah, they only accepted that document. So it's like, what is even their standard? Because,
Yeah.
a screenshot of a stupid HR page, to me, it seems to be worth less than, salary slips.
Yeah.
So
It's crazy. So I think you brought up a very interesting point here, which is like there is the official checklist, which by the way already makes me faint when I receive a letter with like a checklist of documents that I have to provide. I first put it down and do something
yeah,
else
I
in the
totally
meantime
get
because I
what
cannot
you
deal with
mean.
that.
It's like, oh my God. Just,
It's like I read through it once. It's like, okay. This I don't have. This I don't have. This I don't have. Please move on. And the second, more nuanced part about this checklist is like, what do they actually accept, right? Like, you could never predict that someone would say, no, your salary slip for June might have been for June 3 years ago instead of
Yeah.
June this year, right? Like, insane. It also is very dependent on like how different countries present a given document. And
yeah, exactly.
yeah, so I guess in Japan they always say, okay, you're paid for this month and we are paying you on this date.
Yeah, exactly. That is
yeah.
usually specified in Japanese pay slips, but
Yeah.
it's kind of irrational for them to expect that other countries have the same standard.
I mean, they always do. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And also something that I found quite interesting is like there are these official translators that are recognized by the state. And for the documents that I had to translate, there are only like a few appointed translators that I could go to. And I was like, this is how they make their money because everybody has to go to the same people. The worst thing is I'm translating documents that are like so basic, like what's my name? What's my parents' name? Where I was born. I was like, guys, I could do this.
Yeah.
Like, let me save my money.
And it costs quite like a significant amount of money.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And then they make mistakes, right? And then they make
Yeah.
mistakes and you're like, guys, I can do this better than you.
Yes.
Like, just let me do it. So like every time we receive one of these official documents, like a driver's license or a permit renewal, it's like a huge moment of celebration. Right?
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my God, all my hard work came to this moment.
Yes. When Marcus got his driving license, I think we had like a celebratory dinner, and I was immediately starting to plan like, okay, how are we gonna use this driving license? We need to rent a car. We need to go this place. We need to go that place to make it worth it.
Have you been to any of those places on your list?
No, because Marcus is a homebody. But I have one trip coming up that I'm looking forward to. So Marcus will be driving then.
Nice.
First time. Woohoo!
Awesome. Yay.
And that's all we had for today. For more content from this channel, follow us on Instagram at papermache.people. And don't forget to hit the follow button on your podcast app so you get a ping when we have a new episode out. Thanks for tuning in and see you next time.